start with Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda. Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. जय राधा काला चंजी, राधा काला चंजी, श्री राधे जय। जय राधा गोविंद, राधा गोविंद, श्री राधे जय। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय। नित्य गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौर हरि बोल, नित्य गौर बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौर हरि बोल। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from first canto, chapter 8, text number 21. Before that, we can chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 1, chapter 8, text number 21. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Any Prabhus who want to recite? Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Any Matajis? Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Word to word meaning. Krishnaya, the Supreme Lord. Vasudevaya, unto the son of Vasudeva. Devaki Nandanaya, unto the son of Devaki. Cha, and Nanda Gopa, Nanda and the cowherd men. Kumaraya, unto their son. Govindaya, unto the personality of Godhead, who enlivens the cows and the senses. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Namaha, obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charana Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation is as follows. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Purport. The Lord, being thus unapproachable by any material assets, out of unbounded and causeless mercy, descends on the earth as He is in the order to show His special mercy upon His unalloyed devotees and to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac persons. Queen Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations, because in this particular incarnation he is more approachable. In the Ram's incarnation, he remained a king's son from his very childhood. But in the incarnation of Krishna, although he was the son of a king, he at once left the shelter of his real father and mother, King Vasudeva and Queen Devaki, just after his appearance, and went to the lap of Yashodamai to play the part of an ordinary cowherd boy in the blessed Vrajabhumi, which is very sanctified because of his childhood pastimes. Therefore, Lord Krishna is more merciful than Lord Rama. He was undoubtedly very kind to Kunti's brother Vasudeva and the family. Had he not become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, Queen Kunti could not claim him to be her nephew and thus address Krishna in parental affection. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the Lord's childhood pastimes, which are more attractive than all the other pastimes. There is no parallel to his childhood pastimes as exhibited at Vrajabhumi, which are the prototypes of his eternal affairs in the original Krishna Loka, described as the Chintamani Dham in the Brahma Samhita. Lord Sri Krishna descended himself at Vrajabhumi with all his transcendental entourage and paraphernalia. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. His pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda, and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to the Brahmanas and the cows, indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more on these two items, namely Brahminical culture and cow protection. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking. Om अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुर उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Praying at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled Vaishnavas that please pray and bless me so that whatever I speak may be I speak for my own purification and for the pleasure of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis and for ultimately for the pleasure of their lordships Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. Hare Krishna. So we are in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam where the most celebrated prayers of Queen Kunti are being discussed. So at this point Arjun or Krishna actually, he is about to leave from Dwarka and he is going back to, or he is about to leave from Hastinapur and going back to Dwarka, and he has already saved Parikshit in the womb of Uttara from the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. And now as Krishna is about to leave, Mother Kunti is offering prayers. So actually this is how glorious our Srimad Bhagavatam is. If we see other scriptures like even Mahabharata will not talk about glories of his devotees like Kunti or Bhishma Dev. For someone who is outside, like who are not yet devotees, for them to understand the glories of Kunti is something they take it very surprising, that oh, there is something called as prayers of Queen Kunti, and they took it in a very, for them it's very surprising. But this is how wonderful our Srimad Bhagavatam is, that Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Even Bhishma Dev, this is the 8th chapter, but 9th chapter we will see the prayers of Bhishma Dev. Now Bhishma Dev is, throughout Mahabharata, he is always considered to be someone who is fighting opposed to the Pandavas or even Krishna. But he is one of the Mahajanas. He is the great devotee of the Supreme Lord. So therefore we find in Srimad Bhagavatam this culture of offering prayers to the Supreme Lord is repeatedly being compiled. Like right from the first canto, if we see prayers of Queen Kunti, the next chapter is the prayers of Bhishma Dev. Then we have in the 7th canto the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. When Narsimha Dev killed Hiranyakashipu, we have the beautiful prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. And even before that, in 6th canto, we find that even a demon like a Vritrasur, he is offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. We have never seen that a demon like Vritrasur or any demon offering prayers to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Aham hare tava padaika mulam dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuya manah smareta supater gunamste grinita vak karma karotu kaya na naka prishtham na cha paryameshtham na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasatve virahiya kangshe ajata paksha iva mataram khaga stanyam yatha vatsa tarar kshudartah priyam priyeva vishidam vishanna mano arvind daksha didrikshate tvam mama uttama shloka janeshu sakhyam samsara chakra bhramata swakarma bihi tvam maya atmat majdara gehe shu asakta chittasya na nata bhuyat. Vritrasur in the 6th canto. Right before he was about to killed by Indra, he is offering these beautiful prayers, which are often called as the Chatushloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then 7th canto, the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. 8th canto, the prayers of Gajendra, when he is calling out to the Supreme Lord. It is described, Gajendra, when he called out to the Supreme Lord, when he was praying and offering prayers, he called out Narayan, and even before he finished saying Narayana, even before he was finished saying Na at the end, the Supreme Lord was present there. It is described that first time in the history that the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who was flying faster than his own carrier Garuda, just to protect his devotee. And then in the 10th canto, this was Gajendra. Then in 10th canto, there are so many prayers. The prayers of Lord Brahma to Krishna, the prayers of the personified Vedas, the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva when they were liberated from the trees, the prayers of the wives of the Brahmanas, the prayers of the wives of the Kaliya, Nagapatnis. All these beautiful prayers are there throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. Now in this section that we are reading are the prayers of Queen Kunti. And we find that prayer that Queen Kunti is showing us how to pray to Krishna. Now Queen Kunti is describing that she is offering her gratitude to Krishna, that she is describing in what all circumstances that Krishna has saved Kunti and all of her sons. And then she says that, because then she gives the essence that remembering Krishna is the ultimate goal of life. Always smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit. And therefore she says, Vipadaha santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yasyat apunar bhava darshanam. That after describing that, oh Krishna, you have saved us from all of these calamities, like you saved Bhima from the poison of Duryodhan, you saved all of us when we were being burnt in the wax house. You saved Arjun when Arjuna took a vow to kill Jayadratha. You saved Draupadi when she was being disrobed. Every single time, Krishna has protected the Pandavas, even when they were in exile. When Durvasa, along with his 50,000 other sages, when they were coming to have a meal at the house of Draupadi, even then Krishna came and protected all of the Pandavas and Draupadi. So Queen Kunti is expressing gratitude. So this is how Queen Kunti is teaching us how do we express our gratitude. Queen Kunti didn't just say that, oh, thank you for everything. But she specifically mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, for all these things, I am grateful to you, my Lord. So prayer is actually, first is gratitude, and then she is now glorifying Krishna. She first expresses her gratitude to Krishna, and then now in this verse that we read today, she is now glorifying Krishna. Now, in the verse that we read today, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna appears यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहं परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. That out of his causeless mercy, the Supreme Lord appears from his eternal Golok Vrindavan to protect the sadhus and to destroy the demons, protect the devotees, and re-establish the religious principles. And he doesn't come alone. He comes along with all of its paraphernalia and entourage. Now, although Krishna appeared to Vasudeva and Devaki, and that's how he got the name Vasudevaya that we read today, that Krishna, he was the Supreme Lord, and because Vasudeva and Devaki, they did a lot of penance and austerities, and therefore they were blessed because they were devotees from previous life, and they did lot of sadhana, lot of austerities. They were blessed that the Supreme Lord appeared as their child. Now when Krishna went to Vrindavan, and after going to Vrindavan, when he at the age of 10, when he came back to Mathura and he killed Kamsa, the Supreme Lord revived. So the Kamsa had killed all the 6 sons of Devaki. And look at the greatness of this woman, Devaki. Devaki, even though someone who has killed her 6 sons, she was ready to forgive even Kamsa. But still, Krishna killed Kamsa and revived the lost sons of Devaki. Just like Devaki was ready to, just like Kunti was ready to forgive Ashwathama for killing her 5 sons, Devaki was also ready to forgive Kamsa. This is the glory of women like Kunti or Devaki. And that's how Krishna is giving pleasure to Maharaj Vasudeva and Devaki. Now when Krishna was in Vrindavan, he performed many, many wonderful pastimes, many amazing pastimes. We find Krishna playing with his friends, the sakhas, the gopas. It is described that all the gopas, after playing throughout the day, starting right from the morning till the evening, they used to sit together and have lunch or dinner. And Krishna used to expand in such a way that all the other sakhas or the gopas, they used to think that, oh, Krishna is sitting only with me. And then they used to share their tiffin boxes with each other. And Krishna used to take the tiffin box and hide it and give it to someone else. And when that boy used to start crying, when his tiffin box used to go missing, then Krishna used to return back the tiffin box. All these playful activities was being performed by Krishna and all the other sakhas, giving them pleasure. So the purpose of Krishna's descent is actually to give pleasure to the devotees. That's why he descends from the spiritual world, only to give pleasure to his devotees. And that's why, because of this intimate connection of Krishna and his devotees, Krishna is more merciful than any other incarnation. Like Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning that even in Ram's incarnation, when the Supreme Lord appeared, Lord Ramachandra, like all of his friends, they had a very reverential mood towards Lord Ram because he was the son of a king. But here, Krishna is much more approachable because he manifested his pastimes in such a way that he is so much more approachable to all of the gopas, gopis, Mother Yashoda. We find in the Damodar Leela how to give pleasure for Mother Yashoda, Krishna was bound. Krishna is running and from behind Mother Yashoda is running to catch hold of Krishna and to tie him, showing that we have to work hard to get Krishna. Mother Yashoda ran behind Krishna, she worked hard to get Krishna. So we find there are two stories actually. If I have to do some analysis, there is a story of Kala Yavana, one demon, and Krishna is running, and Kala Yavana is actually when Krishna goes to Dwarka. This is the story when Krishna goes to Dwarka, and Kala Yavana is running behind Krishna to catch hold of Krishna. Now Kala Yavana is much more stronger than Mother Yashoda. Kala Yavana is running and Krishna is walking. But still, Kala Yavana is not able to catch hold of Krishna. But in case of Mother Yashoda and Krishna is running, but Mother Yashoda is not as strong as Kala Yavana. She is just a tender woman. But still, Mother Yashoda catch holds of Krishna. And this is because Mother Yashoda is a devotee and Kala Yavana is a demon. Only through bhakti we can bind Krishna in our hearts. And because Mother Yashoda is a devotee of a great devotee in Vatsalya Ras, she is able to control Krishna. Once a person came to Srila Prabhupada and he was claiming that, oh, we have to become God. And Srila Prabhupada showed the picture of Mother Yashoda tying Krishna to a grinding mortar. And Srila Prabhupada asked, can you tell me who is a devotee and who is God in this picture? And that man had no answer. Because if he says that Krishna is God, then how come he is being tied by Mother Yashoda? So then Srila Prabhupada said, we don't want to become God. We want to become something that is better than God, and that is devotee of God. Because a devotee can control Krishna through his love. And that's how Mother Yashoda, because she had so much love for Krishna, she was able to bind Krishna to that grinding mortar. And Krishna gave so much pleasure to Mother Yashoda. Even in Mrid Bhakshan Leela, the pastime where Krishna is eating dirt, even in that pastime, Krishna showed universal form to Mother Yashoda in his small mouth. And even then, and for a few moments, Mother Yashoda started thinking that, is my son God? How come I am able to see a universe, entire universe in Krishna's mouth? And as soon as she starts thinking like that, again, the Yogamaya potency by which all the devotees, so the devotees in Vrindavan, they never think Krishna is God. Because they have so much love for Krishna, they never consider that Krishna is God. So for Mother Yashoda, Krishna is not God. Krishna is just her child. And therefore, when Mother Yashoda was being shown the universal form, first she was completely astonished. But then again, by the power of Yogamaya, she again started thinking, no, this is not God. My Krishna is not God. He is just my small little cute child. And therefore, because in entire Vrindavan, no one thinks that Krishna is God, Krishna has to step out of Vrindavan to speak Bhagavad Gita. If Krishna would have spoken Bhagavad Gita in Vrindavan, they would have said, from where have you memorized all these verses that you are speaking? No one would have taken Krishna seriously. So this is how Krishna is giving pleasure to Mother Yashoda through his so many pastimes. So much so that by seeing the pastimes of Krishna, even Brahma is bewildered. When Brahma saw that Krishna is eating from the tiffin boxes of his friends, Brahma is bewildered, and Brahma is thinking, is this Krishna really the supreme God, or who is Krishna? So Brahma decides to test Krishna, and that's how Brahma steals away all of his cows and calves and all the other gopas. And just for the pleasure of his devotees, Krishna expands into those gopas and those calves and cows. And for 1 year, Krishna is playing the part of the gopas and the calves and the cows. And the parents or the elderly gopis to whom the calves and the cows belong, or their gopas belong, they had more love, they were feeling more love than any time else for their own child, for their son, who was actually Krishna. So when Brahma saw this, then he realized that, oh, what I have done, he is actually God. Everything was going normal. And therefore, he immediately returned back the cows and the calves and all of his friends of Krishna. And Brahma is offering very beautiful, beautiful prayers. We find that in the 10th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the prayers of Lord Brahma. And in that prayer, he is saying, Aho Bhagyam, Aho Bhagyam. He is saying how fortunate are the residents of Sri Vrindavan are, that they are able to see the childhood pastimes of Krishna. All the pastimes of Krishna are glorious. The pastimes in Dwarka, the pastimes in Mathura, the pastimes at Kurukshetra. But the most sweetest pastimes are the pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So in this way, Krishna has performed so many pastimes in Vrindavan. And in this verse, Krishna is called as Govinda. Now Vinda means the one who gives pleasure. And Go can mean anything. Like Go means senses. Krishna is the one who gives pleasure to our senses. And therefore he is also called as Rishikesha. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. That when we engage our senses in the service of that Rishikesha, one who is the pleasure, one who gives pleasure to the senses, that is Bhakti. So Go means senses. The Go means Gopas. He gives pleasure to all the Gopas in Vrindavan. Go also means the Goswamis. We know our 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. It is described that Radharani personally gave darshan to Raghunath Das Goswami on the banks of Radhakund. She came and she held her cloth of a sari on the head of Raghunath Das Goswami, who was doing his bhajan, because Raghunath Das Goswami was sitting under a scorching heat, and to protect Raghunath Das Goswami from that heat, Krishna was actually holding, or Radharani was actually holding a cloth of her sari, so that Das Goswami is actually able to perform bhajan. So this is how even to Goswamis, Radha and Krishna are giving pleasure. To the Gopis, Go also means Gopis. We find even in Srimad Bhagavatam how Krishna through his rasa dance has given pleasure to the Gopis of Vrindavan. It is described that there were, I am not sure about the exact number, but I believe there were more than 100,000 gopis throughout the rasa dance, and Krishna expanded himself in those many forms. And each gopi was thinking, just like we see in this picture here, each gopi was thinking that Krishna is actually dancing only with her. So much so that even Lord Shiva and Narad Muni thought that, even we want to take part in this rasa dance, and therefore Lord Shiva came as a gopi, and even Narad Muni came as a gopi, as Naradi Gopi. And even they were taking part in the rasa dance. And that's when the gopis offered their Gopi Geet, when Krishna disappeared from the rasa sthali. Gopis offered the Gopi Geet to Krishna. So Krishna is giving pleasure to the gopis. Krishna is giving pleasure to the cows. Go also means cows. And go also means Govardhan. By doing Govardhan Leela, he is giving pleasure to the Govardhan. Krishna has used Govardhan in such a way that first through Govardhan Leela, actually, Krishna, first he broke all the pride of Indra. And second, he gave pleasure to all the Brajavasis. Because Brajavasis never got they only used to see Krishna throughout the day. But in night, Krishna used to go back home. But they used to think that we want to see Krishna 24 hours. What can we do to see Krishna 24 hours? Our desire is that we have to be in the association of Krishna for 24 hours. So Krishna thought, okay, let me do Govardhan Leela. And when Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, all the Sakhas, all the Brajavasis, they assembled beneath the Govardhan hill for the pleasure of Krishna. And all of them were seeing Krishna, and Krishna was interacting with all of them. So in this way, through Govardhan Leela, Krishna is giving utmost pleasure and satisfaction to the Gopas of Vrindavan. Gopas, Gopis, all the Brajavasis, all the cows, all the calves, through one Leela, through Govardhan Leela. So in this way, through his wonderful loving exchanges in Vrindavan, Krishna is pleasing all the Gopas, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the cows and all of the senses of his devotees. And this Vrindavan is actually non-different from the Golok Vrindavan. So whatever pastimes take place in this Vrindavan, in this world, all of those pastimes are being carried out eternally in the eternal spiritual world. So if the devotees get so much pleasure in performing pastimes in this world, then what to speak of performing pastimes in Golok Vrindavan? So much more pleasure. So therefore, as we have this human form of life, we have to make this human form of life successful by going back home, back to Godhead, going back to Golok Vrindavan, where there is no suffering, no misery, no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease. And we serve Krishna eternally in either Dasya Bhav or in Dasya or either Sakhya or Vatsalya or Madhurya Ras. And when we please Krishna, automatically even we will become happy and pleased and feel ultimate satisfaction in our life. So that's what I wanted to share from this verse and purport. So please forgive me if there were any mistakes in the presentation. If I said something that I spoke in a wrong way, I spoke the right things in a wrong way, or if I have spoken any wrong Siddhanta, please forgive me and correct me, so that whenever I serve next time, that I am able to do my service properly. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So Do we have any questions or comments? I am not sure if I have the answers, but I can try. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So thank you for such a beautiful class. I really appreciate it. You started speaking about like the steps of how to pray, and you only named two. You named first you begin with gratitude and then glorification based on Mother Kunti's example. And so I'm wondering if there's more steps that you know of, and if like you've heard them listed out in that way.
So first is we thank Krishna for. So first is we offer our gratitude. Then we glorify Him. Then we can ask for forgiveness from Krishna, that, oh Krishna, that whatever mistakes that I have been doing in my services, please forgive for those mistakes. And then, so these are the three main steps. And then if we want to offer our personal prayers, then also we can offer, like if we have any desires or if we want to ask something from Krishna. Because ultimately, whatever, whether it's material desires or spiritual desires, we have to only ask to Krishna. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Bhagavatam says in the second canto that whether you have material desires, you don't have material desires, or you desire for liberation or you don't desire for liberation, perform tivra bhakti towards the supreme, intense bhakti you perform towards the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. So if we have any desires, material or spiritual, then we can ask for those desires. So basically these four components, basically if we first offer gratitude, we glorify, we ask for forgiveness, and then if we have any desires, yeah. So when it comes to glorification also, we can actually just repeat the verses of Maharani Kunti or prayers of Vritrasur, the prayers of Gajendra. If we can memorize them, we can offer them as well. And we can try to have our mood, try to get into that mood of prayers that, my Lord, that I am struggling in this world, that theoretically I know that I belong to you and you belong to me, but please give me that realization that I belong to you and I am yours and you are mine. So such prayers with heartfelt, with that mood, we can offer to the Supreme Lord. So does that answer your question, Mataji?
Thank you.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Krishna. That was a wonderful answer. I just remembered I had this, I'd heard this in Radhesham Prabhu's class. So he had quoted a book called Prarthana by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he mentions there are 10 types of prayerful moods. So starting with, I remember only first three and the last one. Samprarthanatmika. Basically, you go before the deities and you glorify the Lord, how great you are, how merciful you are, in the submissive mood, Atmanivedanam. And then second one is Dainya Bodhatmika, how fallen I am, how useless I am. You know, there is such a wonderful opportunity and I'm not able to grab it. And a third one is Lalsamai. Lalsamai means you express your yearning, or how to say, eagerness, very strong eagerness, to go back to Krishna. And the last one I remember is Vipeksha Bodhatmika or something. So basically, there, you are kind of cursing yourself that it's my mistake, my blunder, that, I just drag myself into this material world. And there are different other types of prayers also. If you're interested, you can read that book. Oh, you have?
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. That was wonderful points. Thank you.
Thank you for such a wonderful class. So much realization you're pouring out to us. The purport, it was talking about you made the interesting point as well that Krishna is very approachable, and he's more approachable than maybe Lord Ram or his other incarnations. And I was kind of thinking a little bit that also it seems that Krishna is also very hard to approach, in that compared to other incarnations, he's actually very secretive. Mother Kunti was just describing how it's like an actor in a play, and so many people aren't able to approach Krishna because they can't see him as God, versus maybe like Nrsingadev, you're like, that's God. There's no questioning it. So I was wondering maybe if you had any thoughts on that, how he's both approachable but also hard to approach.
So what I have heard is Krishna is approachable to the devotees. Those who are devotees, they can understand Krishna. Because Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yaman yachasmi tatvatah. That by bhakti you can understand me. So therefore when Krishna does Rasa Leela, there are many people outside who criticize Krishna, that how can Krishna dance with so many girls, because they don't have any understanding. They don't know who are the gopis, they don't know who Krishna is. So only through bhakti we can understand Krishna. Only through devotion. Without devotion, it is impossible to understand him. But once we understand, once a person becomes a devotee, and once he starts understanding him, then Krishna is most approachable compared to all the other incarnations, like Rama or Narsimha. So Krishna is approachable to the devotees of the Supreme Lord. And because even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mudoyam nabhi janati. Those who are fools, they can never understand me. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. But by bhakti they can understand me. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. That those who are constantly doing my bhajan, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. Krishna says in 10.9, I believe, 10.9 in the Bhagavad Gita. So in this way, only through bhakti we can understand Krishna. And the more we serve him, the more we become purified, the more we can understand him, the more we can understand and realize Krishna in our lives. Because then Krishna will give us the intelligence. Buddhir matam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. Krishna says that I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the strength of the strong. So if he is the intelligence, and by doing bhajan, if he can give us that intelligence, dadami, Krishna says, dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. So only by bhakti one can approach Krishna. And once he becomes a devotee, and once he starts understanding, then gradually he will be able to, Krishna is most approachable than all the other incarnations. But it is only for the devotees, not for the non-devotees, can never understand him. For non-devotees, he is covered. He is completely covered by his yoga maya potency. For them it is impossible. For the non-devotees it is impossible to understand Krishna, because Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti so Arjuna. That my activities, my birth, janma and my karma are all transcendental. And those who can understand my birth and my activities, he will come back to me. So because his birth and his activities are all transcendental and it is not easy to understand them, only devotees can understand them, because it requires love to understand the activities of Krishna. Only through love we can understand him. So that's what I think I wanted to share. So does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu.
So I was just, thank you very much for the nice class.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I was remembering there was two things that there's a nice disciple of Srila Prabhupada, or Jaswat Prabhu. You probably remember Jaswat Prabhu. Maybe? Yeah, so he's like a famous kirtan leader, and he lived in Dallas for many years. And he would always encourage us to also